people who are listening, what steps do you want them to take when they finish watching this? How can you start an organization called Time for Us to Get Involved? So how do the us that are listening get involved?
Well, first of all, you have to understand that there's a problem. And if you don't understand that there's a problem, then of course you're going to resist it. For example, with drug addicts, if they don't understand they have a problem with drugs, there's nothing anybody can say. They're going to continue using drugs. They have to come to a realization that they are using drugs. They have to do something about it. So that's the first step. And if you're willing to understand, well, yeah, there is a problem, then what can you do about it?
What's the problem?
Racism, economics, and the economic system, poverty, drug addiction.
Are those problems or those symptoms of the problem?
Well, that's like saying, is cocaine a problem or a symptom of the problem? All right. You ask what the problems are. These are the problems. Well, the first understanding, what's the problem? It's white supremacy and racism.
Where did that come from? Well, actually, no. What is racism? Because that gets thrown around.
When one ethnic group thinks they're superior to another ethnic group.
Now I'm gonna go somewhere. I graduated from Morehouse College, and I had some professors that would have died on the hill that I'm about to bring up. And I've heard this argument back and forth over years. There are some that I've heard say it that strongly assert that black folk can't be racist. Is that true? Because under your definition, one ethnic group thinking they're better than another. So we can't say the whole group is racist, so we're talking individuals. Can black people be racist?
Yeah.
No.
No.
How not? Explain this for people who are listening. They genuinely want to understand.
Okay. With the superior group controlling everything, money, power, weaponry, and the inferior group not really controlling anything. How can the inferior group be racist when you're being suppressed? You can't be being suppressed, and you're the racist. Wait a minute, I'm the one being suppressed. How can I be a racist? You are suppressing me. I'm not suppressing you.
But I'm going according to your definition. Your definition is one ethnic group hating another. Maybe it's exactly because of that suppression that the hate comes. The reason I'm bringing this up is, beyond going, I guess, back and forth on whether black people can be racist or not, to the bigger point, do we own some of this problem? Or is this all kind of white folks need to figure this out and give us our due? That's what I'm getting at. Do we own where we are today as a nation? I'm not just talking about black folks. Where we are. Do we, as black people, own where the country is and where we are as a society?
How can we own a system that's been oppressive and that's been oppressive ever since black people were put to this country? The It's never stopped. It's never stopped. It may be covert form sometimes, but it has never stopped. So how can we be the problem? The problem is, if you had treated us fairly and equally, and we didn't have a monkey on our back all the time, or in generation after generation, then we're being treated equally, then we wouldn't be the problem. Just like we would be the problem. Just like you did the mafia. You call them wops. They were brown skins sometime. But yet they're white people now. They're being treated equally. So any problem that a dying person causes is a problem of his own, not a problem of society. Our problems are things that are systemic and endemic within our society. That's going on, matter of fact, worse today than it's been since the 1940s and 50s. So how can we be a problem?
I'm listening to you, and there's going to be a lot of others that are watching and listening to exactly what you say through this interview. Let's go back to your own words about Italians. You said the difference with Italians was, like Irish, they put it into it. That's what you brought up. Okay, so now let's follow that logic. For those who are listening, and say, why don't we put it into it?
We didn't come over here on our own will. We were stolen and brought here and put in shackles and chains. And there were certain systems put in place right at the very beginning. In the Constitution, we were 3/5 of a man. In the Constitution, a Greek person would be a man. So we were 3/5 of a man. These people tried to use Native Americans at first, and we're going to try to use them in slavery. But they realized there was a flaw with the Native Americans, that they couldn't go sleep around, right? Because they were going to die, and they're going to kill some people. So they brought a people that may have been strong in their country, but when they brought them here, they were docile. Now I know I keep hearing about Nat Turner rebellion, this or that. Some of them did this, or some of them did that. I know, I hear that. But what I feel is if the men had gotten together, and all of them, all the men came over and started cutting some heads off, killing some of the children or something, then maybe they might not have been treated that way. But the men became, for the most part, very docile. They were whipped and beaten and everything else. They were moved like cattle from one place to another, where the women remained behind and kept the children together. A system of oppression. They were given a religion that said God looked just like me. In other words, God was a white man with a beard. I am white. Okay. That's what the Bible says. The Bible says God made man in his own likeness, and they give these people a white man as God. And then they made these people who had religions in their own country that they believed in. They made these people believe in their religion. And they were able to control and use these people in their religion. And a matter of fact, as far as I'm concerned, they're still doing it today. they're still doing it today. So here these people now, they got nothing to turn to. They're being beaten to terrible living conditions. They want to believe in something. We'll believe in this God.
And just as a point of clarification, you're saying that the Bible says that man was made in the image of God, but not that the Bible says that God was white and had a beard.
No, I said the Bible said that. I said that the Bible said that man was created in the image of God. Now in my church, when I was growing up, they had a big image at the back of the church. God was this white man with a long white beard and a long white dress on the time, whatever you call it. That was God. So we unconsciously, whether consciously or unconsciously, we grow up with the thought in our mind being that God was a white man. And that Jesus Christ was a white man. Which we know that couldn't be true. But that's what we were taught. And that's where we grew up. Now, so the first thing these people are taught, you gotta do this religion. And this is what this religion says. And this is what God looks like. He don't look like me. He look like you.
Mm-hmm.
We don't delve into it that much. And then there's a series of oppression and submission that began back then that's made, is still true to this day. And people are using religion in a 2025 version of the way they used it back then. A man like Donald Trump can't get up and wave a Bible. I was chosen by God. When a damn bolt of lightning should have struck his ass dead right there. Right there. But yeah, got a man like him. And you cannot say anything against religion. People afraid to do it.